Hello, Flickin' Fanatics. It's Jesse Swift and Sean Wingblade coming at you with another review. We are finally going back to Pandora with James Cameron 13 years later, but it feels like it's been 84 years. And opinions.
It's been 84 years. I feel like the old lady from the Titanic throwing the blue heart into the sea.
Results may vary, I guess, but I think that's also the case with the first one. Going online, it's definitely a mixed bag.
It really is, yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of middle of the road. I'm seeing a lot of like, no, yeah, that was pretty fantastic, or like this is some kind of crime against filmmaking. Apparently, There's no in between. But we won't quite yet spoil our thoughts on the movie, but we are excited to get into it. But I did want to kick off with maybe a little bit of initial thoughts on the first Avatar, and then just kind of a sprinkling of our spoiler-free thoughts about the movie as a whole. And then we'll give you guys a warning. After that, we're just going to talk about the movie. Open spoiler discussion. Feel free to chime in. But before that, try to keep spoilers out of the live chat if you can. Please and thank you. Sean, you and I have talked about this a couple times, but what are your feelings, your revitalized feelings, I should say, having rewatched Avatar pretty recently in theaters?
First of all, what's up to Brendan? How you doing in the chat tonight, buddy? Yeah, so I never saw the original Avatar in theaters. I missed it. It passed me by. What was I doing in 2009? I don't know, working, not being able to afford shit. I was eating steamed rice and corn dogs. I was on the college diet, and I was way out of college. I couldn't afford anything. So I never saw. I saw it at home as soon as it came on home video. I saw it then. I had saw it on like cable channels or whatever, and it was good. It was fine. It was, Fern Gully dances with wolves, like all the cliches. People say that all the time. It looked great, of course. It looked real, like all this stuff. But when the re-release happened a couple months ago, my kids had never seen it, so I took my kids to see it, and we saw it in 3D, the Cinemark XD theater. We saw it in 4DX, so it's the seats that move, that go.
I'm going to my first 4DX screening next week for Avatar: Way of the Water.
Perfect.
Way of Water.
And so I was like, wow, the remaster and seeing it finally the way Cameron meant it to be saw with the 3D, it's better. That 13-year-old movie is better than movies that they release now today. And maybe it's the time and effort, maybe it's the cost, maybe it was like he sucked up all of the After Effects CG people in the industry to work on his thing, but he did a fantastic job, and it was killer.
We usually consider Industrial Light and Magic to be like the pinnacle of CGI, and so this is Weta.
Yeah,
very Weta in this case.
For the new one, absolutely. Yeah. So it absolutely reignited, and it did its job in reigniting my hype level for this movie, because I was interested. I'm gonna go see it opening weekend. It's that type of movie, but I wasn't like hype train going to see it. You know what I mean? Which it did for me, because I was very excited. I'm all about it. I'm gonna take my daughter. My son, he's results may vary on the first movie. He's like, it's good, it's cool. I'm like, cool, let's go see the next one. He's like, nah. I'm like, all right, whatever. He does that all the time too. I'll make him eat some food. I'm like, look, I'm forcing you to try new things, so eat this thing. He's like, okay, that was okay. And I'm like, cool, do you want more? He's like, nah. Like, that's just his personality. He's always like, it was fine. Do you want more? No, absolutely not. My daughter really wants to see the
New
second
Hope, Empire Strikes Back. You want to watch Return of the Jedi?
Nah. My daughter does. She really enjoyed it. They're 18 months apart. She's 18 months older, so he was 8, she was 10. She's 10. She liked it a lot more. So she really wants to go see the new one. So I'm gonna take her to go see it in 3D. Probably, if we can't get to it Sunday, probably Monday, because they're out of school now for Christmas break. So we're gonna see it again, maybe even in 4DX. We might go back to that same theater just to see it then. What did you think going into this, based on the first one? Because you said you rewatched the movie for the first time in 13 years.
Correct. I saw it, and I didn't see it in theaters either. I was 2009, a sophomore in high school. So if my parents weren't interested in seeing a movie, I didn't see that movie. They were not interested in Avatar, so I didn't get to see it. So
Derpy,
I saw it.
Thanks for showing up. We're going to get to it in a moment. And
Yes. Appreciate you.
Stay tuned. You never know. You're correct. We're going to be professional.
So yeah, it might be like 12 or 11 years actually, because I think it was a while after it came out that I finally got around to pirating it online and watching it on my computer. I mean, what?
What?
Speaking of professionalism.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up, Jesse.
You're breaking up. What is this strike on our channel? No. So yeah, obviously watching on a computer screen that's about the same size as this currently, or smaller, doesn't quite do it justice, especially with the sound. I can't tell you how old my speakers were. So all I really had to go off of in that instance is the story.
Along with Allison's You've Never Seen It, we should have done a reaction for it. We should have done a watch along. Which True. I was actually just watching Heroes Reforged did a 3D watch along for their channel. And we should have done.
And you saw the new one in 3D, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that because we had different experiences. I saw it in Dolby regular. So
not Dolby 3D. Okay. We'll get to it. Yeah, go back to first.
Anyways, so obviously my first experience is pretty lackluster when I had to go off of was the story of Avatar, which most people agree is not the strength of the first movie.
Sure.
So I was like, yeah, it was fine. It was pretty blue people. I'm all right with it. It was a little bit better than Transformers. That's kind of how I came out of it.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, my anticipation was pretty low for the new one. And it felt like I just had an obligation to go see it because it is the thing. Avatar is the thing. It is the highest grossing box office phenomenon of all time that nobody's talked about other than to say that nobody talks about it.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's the whole thing. And so, I went to see it and I try to be open-minded as much as possible. Admittingly, I was going in a little pessimistic.
Okay.
Because, I was like, I hope it's just at least better than the first one. We will get to that. So yeah, the first movie. Anyways, in short, it's what everybody's really said about it. It is derivative of many things that you've seen before. And when you don't have the visual spectacle to lean on, it is a little hollow, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
My opinions may have shifted on the new movie. We will talk about it.
Roll it in.
Yeah, what's that?
Roll into the new movie. Then.
Roll into it? All right, that's the smoothest transition I've ever seen.
We're 10 minutes in. Let's get to the review of the movie we're reviewing.
All right, we're talking about the movie. Really quick, I do want to address Derpy. I will say it's not better than the first film or unique like its predecessor, but it's pretty darn close. The best part of this film is the insane amount of world building, but also far more visual spectacle than the first. I respect that opinion. I agree with some of that opinion, and I disagree with some of it. Black Loki in the chat, what's up, buddy? He says, I actually haven't completely watched the first movie. I've seen the first third and fell asleep, never watched the rest. Well, for one, watch the rest because this movie doesn't hold your hand. It does like in a little bit, gives you a little bit of what's going on.
Yeah.
But you have to be familiar with a lot of people because the characters just show up and it's not like, hey, do you remember? It's like, no, they're there. They're doing their thing. You got to remember who died, who lived, who got put in whose body, and all that stuff. I'm glad I watched it literally 2 days before the movie. Because otherwise, I was like, what is any of this?
Right.
Anyways, rolling into thoughts on Avatar: The Way of Water. I never know where to put the and the of.
The Way of the Water. The Way of the Water?
Avatar 2, Water's Way. That's what I'm going to call it from now
on. Hold on. We got the way of the way of water. There's no second the. There's only one the. There's only one the.
Okay. Anyways, so in short, I will summarize a little bit of the tweet that I made after seeing this movie. I said, was crying 3 to 4 times during Avatar: The Way of Water on my bingo card for this week. It wasn't, but I had to check that box anyways because this movie found a way to grip me emotionally and to have my jaw on the floor constantly once you get through the first hour of watching something in 48 frames a second versus 24 frames a second, which I'm not going to lie, it's very jarring. Some
It
people it
was,
bothered
yeah.
them the entire runtime and like ruined the film going experience. It didn't for me. I just had to
Yeah.
like adjust because the fact that you know what you're seeing is CGI, but it's moving in real time. There's not motion blur or any of that stuff. We've been watching 24 frames or less our entire lives.
Mhm.
So to see like what Lauren said to me during the movie is she's like, this is clearer than my eyes. And I said, yes,
Okay.
that's kind of what it feels like.
Sure. Yes. Correct.
It feels uncanny in the way that like we are not used to receiving visuals this way.
I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I kind of feel like blue people are real.
Yeah, right.
We just haven't got there yet. Cameron didn't make a movie about Pandora. He brought back a documentary from the future. That's kind of how I feel about the visual spectacle about the movie. Like it was there were no wonky parts of the CG in this, like some movies you're like, oh, Avengers Endgame or Infinity War, it's killer, but then you get that one scene where Thanos is like, "Argh," and is like he looks like Grimace or something from McDonald's, but there was none of that in this movie. It was absolutely.
I want to speak to like I saw 1 second pretty much.
Well, I didn't see it. But what there was a little wonkiness was the 3D part of it.
Okay.
Or the motion smoothing, rather. At the very beginning, there's a moment, I think, when Jake is teaching his kid to, like, use the bow and arrow to fish. Mm-hmm. And they did a quick little thing, and I was like, whoa. But I think it's what you're saying. My eyes just really had to get adjusted to the movement of it.
I know exactly what you're talking about because Lauren and I were actually like in like fighting positions for the first 5 minutes. We're like this. We were like, what is happening?
And there kept being people who there were still people coming into the theater, even though there was 25 minutes trailers, there were still people showing up. And so I'm watching them, but then all of a sudden there's people actually
Barbie trailer.
And I didn't get the Barbie trailer.
Oh, that's right.
I saw the Oppenheimer trailer.
But I saw both.
Oh, well, snap. Screw you. So anyway, so I'm watching the movie over here, but then there's actual people that are, in front, like 2 rows in front of me, and I'm like, what is? They're in the screen. I was like, I thought it was like Mystery Theater 3000, like where I was like, these people are they're just like shadows that popped up in front of the projectors. I didn't know what was happening.
So
anyway,
I want to touch on the world building. Obviously, and it was talked about a little bit in the comments here, but the first Avatar established Pandora and introduced us to the world. But this went so much deeper. We got some of the spiritual connection and stuff with Neytiri. And go ahead.
I do agree. I agree with Derpy. That's going to be probably my only negative for the movie. We'll get to the runtime and
it doesn't. I don't necessarily feel like it was all in one spot, but I feel like if you went through with a fine-tooth comb a little more, probably could have found at least 20 minutes to take out of this movie.
This would be a solid 240.
Yeah, 245.
Yeah,
because
if you haven't seen Kevin Smets's cut of Obi-Wan the series, he cut that down to a 2-hour movie. He did a great job. Put Kevin Smets on the trail.
It's really hard not to say Kevin Smith, isn't it?
I almost did. I literally was on tip of my tongue.
Different person. The Smasher, Kevin Smets. So I think the world building is phenomenal in here. I am a super sucker for anything that feels Polynesian, Samoan, Hawaiian, anything like that. So when we got to this new tribe and the name of the village, the name of the tribe, the name of the mega whales are in the trailer. I'm not spoiling anything, but it's all very like Polynesian. And I was like, oh, this is so excellent.
The Matakaya, I believe they were.
That's closer than I would have gotten. I was like, what a great opportunity to cast well-known Polynesian actress Kate Winslet as the chiefess.
I was looking today and I can't remember their names. There were so many new names and
it's not like, hey, this is Fred, right?
Exactly. They were difficult names to pronounce. So I was like, wait, was Winslet maybe one of the kids? No, she was the chieftress.
That's probably not a word, but I feel like if I say chieftress, you know what I'm talking about.
Sure. Yeah. she was the
chief's wife,
chieftain's wife, mate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, she was doing an accent then.
Okay. So Derpy, what you might have seen is there is a rumor that came out. I think it was today or yesterday. I don't know how valid it is, but that Cameron had like a 9-hour cut of Avatar 3 prepared.
So
Yeah,
it's an
not
assembly
this one.
cut, which is
Yeah.
every movie has an assembly cut where it's the entire film before it's edited down.
And Cameron wants, according to the report, wants the VFX done before he cuts it.
Correct.
Which
you don't do. You don't
No.
waste the money and time to do 3 movies worth of VFX.
That is how you make a $1 billion movie.
Yes, 100%. Production wise, not even advertising. That's a $1 billion production movie. Absolutely.
So going back, world building is exceptional. The VFX, the animals, which I don't know about you, but like animal cruelty and stuff in movies gets me really bad. And I'm not spoiling stuff yet, but ouch, man, there's some stuff that's tough to watch in this. The kids seemed like your stereotypical, like obviously there's the Sully kids now where Jake Sully and Neytiri have a family together. I think there's adopted daughter, then they have 3 kids, and then there's Spider. So I think we're dealing with 5, roughly. They feel like just stereotypical kids for the first maybe half of the movie. But once they start getting separated and you start getting time with them individually, I really came to like all of them quite a bit. I had so many more characters I was invested in The Way of Water than the initial Avatar, which is pretty much initial Avatar is like you got Jake and Neytiri, and even Jake is a little bit of a douchebag. So there wasn't that much to cling on to, but I feel like it was a vast improvement with this film. What are some highlights for you?
I think I clinged on to the kids' storylines, to be honest, most. And they're at the heart of it. The family is, the family aspect, and the kids, like all the montage. There was a lot of kid montage of them learning to do stuff, and minimal part of that with Jake and Neytiri learning to do stuff. And so we got to kind of see the world through their eyes and live with them and their. And that was probably a good way to do it since we were shifting from the forest to the water clan, essentially. We got to learn with them. And I really enjoyed it. We didn't really talk about...
Yes.
What? Go.
Oh, I was going to say, sales pitch, go. We got to fix this. Micro review. 60-second micro review. Scout About says, decided to check y'all out about this. I'm probably not going to see the movie. I'm more interested in Babylon next week. If we could try to convince somebody that's seen this movie, that's hopefully seen the first movie, what are some sales points that you would make?
Why not? Like a movie's a movie. It's a visual. The first movie was great. It was a visual spectacle. It's a story. I mean, we watched so many other things that could be bad or could be good. This, I don't think would. If you're meh about it, it's not going to fall on the bad or the good side. It'll be like, all right, that's the thing I watched. You're not going to waste your time watching this movie if you're like about it. But also, this is the kind of thing where it's like, I need to be part of the conversation. Everyone's going to be talking about this. The first movie is the biggest movie of all time. This one will be up there with the probably top 10. I don't think it'll become the biggest movie of all time, but it's going to become up there. Top Gun Maverick is in the top 10 now. So this will, I think this will surpass.
We're in a different cinematic climate than we were in 2009. For sure. I would say,
but this is no competition for 2 months.
Right.
Until February 17th, whenever Ant-Man comes out. This is not going to have any competition until then.
Avatar Way of Water is a movie that you will not want to, like a year from now, be like, maybe I should see what everyone was talking about. Let me pull it up on Disney Plus. It's a mistake. Like, it might be good. The what this movie has over the first Avatar, I think Way of Water, despite being longer, has more rewatchability than the first one because I'm actually invested in what's going on in this movie. It's not just about the theatrical spectacle of the first movie was. This one actually has some emotional depth to it. I felt tied to the kids, tied to these characters. When bad things happened, it was stressful. I kept looking over at Lauren when we're watching the movie, and we were scared for these characters. And there are sad things that happen in this movie, and I felt all of it. The first one didn't have that emotional weight.
Scout, how did you see the first movie? I think that does gauge perception. Did you see it at home? Did you see it in theaters in 3D as Cameron intended. You know what I mean? So I'm curious how you saw the first movie, because I didn't see the first one in theaters until 2 months ago. All right. Well, I think we start getting into spoilers. We're 22 minutes into this,
Spoilers.
and
Okay,
we are going to be going not too much longer so that we can hop onto our normal Friday night show.
Absolutely. So it sounds like, so Derpy's seen it. Scout is going to see what we want to say about it.
Curtis, now.
We're doing spoilers now. So Scout, if you don't want to be spoiled about this movie, we are going to talk spoilers. We're not doing a play-by-play, but we're going to talk about the whole of the movie, which is going to include some mentions of spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
So first things first, I'm the realist, but besides that, Stephen Lang is back. We knew he was going to be back. We got context to how Stephen Lang's character returned post getting 2 arrows in the chest. And he kind of returned. We have 2 kind of returns in this movie, where we have an actor returning and the essence of a character returning, with Sigourney Weaver and is it Kitty, I believe?
I said this. I turned to Gio in the theater. I said, "There's always a bigger fish."
There really was always a bigger fish. I wish I would have thought about that, but that was good. Now, when we see some of our friends tweeting about the mega whale being the secret weapon of the
Matakaya.
Yes. I was trying to think what they're
the
called.
Navi. I mean, they're all Navi, right?
The Reef Tribe.
Yeah.
Yes. So we got to see that in action there. So yeah, Stephen Lang's character, I always forget his name. Obviously, I'm not super attached to him, but his memory and emotions was conveniently somehow stored in a digital chip. Nothing that was established in the first movie. They're like, hey, we want Stephen Lang back, so we're going to make him the villain again and stick him into a Navi body.
I feel like I'm trying to remember if they did something with they what they were doing was they were scoping in on all of Jake's vlogging.
Yeah.
And I was trying to remember how they knew that he was like turning, but I think they scoped it on his vlogs. They didn't like read his mind or something. So yeah, they conveniently invented a new technology and retrofitted it, which, you know what, it's fine. They needed a way to bring it back.
And then obviously with Kitty, so she was born from it looks like taken out of the Navi body of Sigourney Weaver's character. Listen, yes. I know
Doctor
about 3 names in this movie.
Doctor something. I can't remember her name.
Dr. Sigourney Weaver. Dr. Ripley.
Dr. Weaver. Yes. Ripley, Ripley 8 was in Alien Resurrection, so this will be Ripley 12 or something.
Yeah, something like that. So anyways, I thought going in that the Sigourney Weaver as like a teenage girl is going to be very distracting. Mm-hmm. Not that distracting. Mm-hmm. And I really liked her character. She was really cool. She was like daughter of Gaia. She was like a premature Earth goddess of some kind. And
they touch on it right away. They're like, somehow she was immaculately born, and we're like, yeah, that's what we were gonna say. How was that happen? And it's kind of a part of a mystery throughout the movie, and you start to see signs of her communing with the planet.
She's Navi Jesus.
Yeah, essentially, she's just like, and you see her start to use her superpowers during the final battle underwater when they're running away when they're getting chased by the soldiers, and she's just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna control every piece of living thing on this planet. You're all my bitch now.
Oh, is it Kiri? Curtis said definitely like Kiri. I could never tell if it's Kiri or Kitty.
I thought they were saying kitty, like a cat the whole time.
I did too. I was like, that's a little on the nose, isn't it? Because everyone calls them like the big blue cat people. But
well, I think she had a seizure. I don't know if they're canon for, the race or anything.
Yeah, and she also has human DNA. She also had the 5 fingers, which I like how they kind of established like racism between, not necessarily between tribes, because they didn't initially have. Mm-hmm. Well, no, they made fun of their tails and their hands. It wasn't just the.
It was racism and tribalism, nationalism, however you want to call it. There's definitely a dividing class between the forest tribe, the water tribe. I assume we'll see a mountain tribe or a lava tribe, or we're going to see.
Hoping that we get a lava like Navi.
Yes,
that sounds metal as hell.
And then James Cameron will start getting comparison. You know what? It's not Dances with Wolves. It's literally just Avatar: The Last Airbender on a different planet. Like he's just literally just has all these tribes. You got the water, you got the forest, you got exactly.
Yeah, we've done water. Forest is kind of earth. Now we've done water. Well, no, they were air. Well, no, the sky people. The humans
Well,
are there.
yeah. But I mean, you could call them they were people of the forest, but they also went to the floating Hallelujah Mountains, right?
Right.
So kind of air people, and they fly. They use the winged creatures to fly.
In this, we find out that upon the resurrection of Stephen Lang's character, the humans have now been back for a year, kind of in secret. Like the Na'vi did not know about them.
No, I thought they
Well,
knew. They saw them land
right when they came back. Did they see them land? Oh, they did. That's right.
Right. You see Jake wake up and he's like, "That's a spaceship coming to Earth," coming to the planet, and then it lands and it decimates the population around because it just fire blasts the planet. And then it jumps. They do a hard cut jump a year later. All of a sudden, Jake is leading insurgency bombs on freight trains and whatnot, and stealing materials. And they're like, "This guy's got to go."
They're not here for unobtainium anymore, but a marrow of sorts from the sacred whales of the tribe, which is even more tragic than like burrowing through the tree. And it brings me to, I'm bouncing around a little bit. My big sob in this movie was they made a big deal about when all the whales were coming back, right? And every member of like the reef tribe has a specific like spirit sibling, a whale that they've connected and bonded with, and it was really beautiful. And then they talk to each other and they can communicate through sign language of their own type and things. And the chiefess had a spirit sister that just had a newborn baby whale, and she was pregnant with her own, and they communicated. It was heartwarming. And then 2 scenes later, spoilers, guys, the whale hunters slowly and brutally take out this mama whale. Yeah, it's so devastating to watch. And then you see the Na'vi find her and her baby dead floating on the water just because the colonel wanted them to know it was him. Yeah, and that was hard. That was rough.
I was talking with Brian. Shout out to Gio and Brian from Apocalypse. I was with them, and Brian said, he goes, cut that entire thing out. Like, you could have just said it happened off screen. Like, I didn't need to see any of that.
Yeah, they could have showed it start and then cut and then have like the whale on top of the water or something.
It was a whale snuff film, absolutely. And it was brutal. And it was like CG wise, like the entire sequence, it all looked visually cool. Like I get what he was going for. He was basically trying to show the majesticness of the whales and then tie it into the tragedy of what they were doing to the whales. And it was just,
and the whole
it did make
crap, right? That was like salt on the wound or lemon wedge in the. So yeah, I mean that was one of the things I talked about after the movie. I said I do find this movie more rewatchable than the first one. One of my problems is going to be getting through this whale section.
I think that if I have to nitpick for a minute and cut the movie down by 25 minutes, it would be to shorten the training montage. Basically, they get to the river tribe. They get to the reef tribe, and they're learning to hold their breath underwater. It looks cool. I think Cameron
Weaver didn't even have to train.
Yeah, she was just like
in the water, and
she was just with it. She was just chilling. But I think this was Cameron like going like, I didn't go down to the depths of the Mariana Trench for nothing. I'm going to show you everything that I found. And the story went out the window at this point. It was literally just like 40 minutes of visuals of them just swimming and learning and this and that. And this is where you can kind of cut down on the movie, in my opinion. It ties into the whale thing where there was a little too much of the of the tears about to come from the audience. And they could have pushed past it a little bit, but it that part at least did play to the tragedy of the story and really make you hate that fucking whaler, because that was a cheer in the theater when he gets his arm pinned, and I was
I wanted to scream fatality. I was like,
I was hoping it would have been like right across his neck and his arm too, but it just went to his arm and then flung him into the ocean. That was great. What's up, Ed?
And then we also so Spider, the kid I was talking about, that basically adopted
Yeah,
human
yeah.
child because he couldn't go into the cryo chamber for transportation back to Earth.
I love how
Is
sarcastic he was.
yeah,
The whole movie. He's like, kids can't go in cryo, dumbass.
yeah. Um, I have mixed feelings about Spider. He felt like an add-on to the story to give us like a human character because we didn't have very many in this. It was a little bit more 50-50 in the first film. And his motivations amongst the middle section or the second act seemed very confusing because like he knew these were shitty people.
Yep.
But then he's like, "Oh, I'll help you until you go too far." And he's like, "How could you do that?" I'm like, "Bro, don't be dumb."
What did you think was happening?
So that was a little bit of a frustration. And yeah, so it's the Colonel's kid. And I thought because of that throughout the movie, I thought there was some small maybe hints that Stephen Lang's character this time around might have more depth, or there might be something going on in his head. Maybe there's an eventual turn. But by the time we get to the end of the movie, it's like, no, it's the same character. He's just blue now.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really any more depth.
Pretty much. I was the same. I was confused about his motivation, about Spider's motivation. And I'm like, okay, they telegraph the turn at the end, with him rescuing him like just a mile away. I was hoping he would leave him to die or something.
Said that a little bit.
Yeah. And then I guess we needed just a way for him to live on to the next movie so he could be the big bad villain. And in that, I thought Edie Falco who is the new human general on Pandora. She's in charge of, retrofitting this place. She was a sucky person, but she did it. She played it well. But then we just never saw her again. And I wanted to see like a little bit of a human wrap up at the end. Like, they fucked us up. They destroyed our sea operation. It's time to go to war. And then like tie back into Jake going, hey, yeah, it's time to go fight. We can't run any longer. Like I would have liked to see just a little bit more on that so that we know that both sides are basically, we're going to see a huge clash at the end type of thing, or in the next movie.
Right. I do want to make a comment, one more thing, because like I really did ultimately at the end of the day, I really, really enjoyed this film. That's why I'm kind of trying to like up top say a couple of things that didn't work for me. Another thing had to deal with motivation, and it was, basically military man chieftain Jake Sully being like, oh no, the sky people are back. Our family should go in hiding and screw the tribe, we're out. And I'm like, that seems not in character, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, 13 years has gone by. A lot's changed. He never had kids before, so then kids change you. Kids change your motivations. You're more scared of losing versus you're playing defensive instead of offensive.
You're a little more selfish when it comes to family. I guess it just seemed off, but I forgot about it until later. Like by the time that was so early on in the movie, we kind of moved past it, and I forgot about it until reflecting on the movie.
I was more thinking about at that moment logistics of how would they know that he's gone unless they come looking for him, and they're just going to come through and torture people until they say, no, he's gone. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't think this plan's going to work out very well. It didn't, because they did go, basically start torturing the tribes. And because they picked up on the flying the last ship they had from Doug or whatever the guy's name was, the tall lanky dude from Grandma's Boy, and so they're like, oh hey we see one of our rogue choppers flying over the ocean, and then well, let's go search there. That must be where he is. So they kind of like easily painted themselves into a corner. And
I'll comment really quick on the action was very exciting for this movie, whether it be Sully's youngest kid getting chased by that shark thing where he eventually starts his relationship with, was it Po Chai? Is that right? Or something close to that? The whale? He was the outcast.
This is why I watch subtitles, bro.
Oh yeah. I'm ready to watch it again. I'll pick up more. Maybe we'll talk about it again on one of our other speakeasies. But I love the relationship with the outcast and everything with the whales. And like I said, all that very much like the Polynesian culture stuff is all very like, way of water, right? It's all Spirits of the Water, very Moana and stuff like that. And it was cool to see here. I loved all of it. The visuals were incredible, especially the underwater, everything underwater. I understand why James wanted to spend so much time really showing off everything underwater, because literally almost 3/4 of this movie takes place either in or underwater, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I know it's hard to like pick your favorite child, but they could have cut some stuff out.
Yeah,
certainly. Yeah.
Scout, I wouldn't say the movie is sad. There's sad parts. I think like any movie with good drama is going to have sad parts. I would say I don't know if I wouldn't say uplifting at the end, but it
triumph.
And
there's
triumph at the end, and part of the visual spectacle is also kind of the awe spectacle, and you see these people, all of the people, the entire Na'vi, you see them all having fun, you see them enjoying each other, you see them learning other cultures and stuff, but also like a little bit of like honestly it's a little bit of a coming of age type of film too, when they go to the other
young
tribe
love in there.
they're a little bit of young love, and you see them like learning culture, and growing as people, which is also part of the interesting part. So there's a few sad moments. Like any drama, it's going to be up and down type of thing.
One thing I'll say that benefits the film and it comes into play when you have sad moments like that is revenge can be fun to watch. That's why the John Wick are so popular. So I will say, well, actually, I can't say, I guess. So we lose, spoilers, again, we lose the oldest.
The oldest son, yeah. Who was the better warrior, and he was kind of like the head kid to look after his younger siblings.
Right. Oh, by the way, how adorable is their youngest daughter? How adorable.
If you want to tune out for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah. The youngest daughter was adorable. Every time
she was smiling the entire movie, just always smiling. She's like, ah.
I cracked up when she's like, "Oh no, I'm tied up again."
Yes, I got a huge laugh. That was good. She's again. Damn. She's like, I was out.
Every time we saw her face, I looked at Lauren, and she just had like the biggest puppy dog eyes. She's like, "You're so cute." Yeah,
she was the best.
Me too.
Took.
Her name was Took.
Took.
I actually remembered her name.
Took. So you mentioned revenge. Yeah. That as soon as Neytiri lands on the ship,
you're just like, it's starts about to go down.
And it goes down. She goes ham on some dudes, and then she shoots the girl in the leg. She kills a guy, turns around, and just arrows straight to the dome. That might be my favorite kill of the year. It was, spoiler at the end of Violent Night. I won't say it's the spoiler. The last kill in Violent Night,
dude. That made the movie for me. I threw my arms in the air. I was like, yeah.
The final that with there's a fireplace over there. We might as well use that. That was my favorite kill, which I also saw like just a few days ago.
Yeah.
But this sequence with Neytiri was just epic. Like she was just kicking all the ass, and
I love that she was so angry and feral. She scared Spider. Yeah. Spider was around the corner, like peeked around, and she's like screaming, blood curdling, screaming.
I thought something because Spider finally saw the video of his father dying, getting killed, and I didn't remember. I forgot Jake didn't kill him.
No,
Neytiri killed him. Put 2 arrows in his chest to protect Jake. Right? Jake was losing oxygen, and so Spider finally saw that video and was like, "Oh shit, no, she killed my dad." And so I thought he was gonna do something, but then she goes and turns it around, and holds a knife to him, and I didn't think she was gonna go through with it. I thought she was kind of like playing the game, type of thing. But she was about to do it too. I think she was like, she did not give a shit about this kid the whole time. She's like, no, he's on the outside, which is kind of a negative character trait, but I think it holds true to her character, to be honest.
Right. She does hate the Sky People. Like obviously absolutely. She found something in Jake, but Jake was an exception of the rule, not the new rule.
She hated him at first. She was going to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't have a whole lot of an arc as far as her character. She was pretty consistent.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And props to Zoe Saldana because she can do so much without words. Whenever she had a scream of loss or anger, every time she screamed, I felt whatever it was. And it hurt, whether it was revenge or seeing her son there. Oh, the throat cut fake out was weird. William Harrelson says.
She did it, but she did it across his chest and like made him bleed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I thought she did it too. The way the movement happened, but then she just cut the chest. Like, oh, okay. She's like, blood for blood, son for a son. I was like, oh, he's gonna die. and then jumping back to Quarch, to Colonel Quarch. I thought it was interesting that he really showed, other than the first moment when they met, he otherwise showed zero remorse for this kid. And so I thought it was kind of weird that he finally, like, I don't know, that part, I don't know, I wouldn't say that was a negative. It was interesting. It was interesting to see where his character, and maybe that was just the beginning, since he did obviously survive. Maybe in the third movie there will be I don't want to say redemption. I don't want to see him redeemed. I just want to see him die. But
again, was it? I think it was Neytiri said, like, "I'll kill you however many times I have to," and I'm like, I love that line. Okay, that's something we could touch on. Again, not a perfect thing, no screenplay awards going, but I think the dialogue is improved in this movie versus the first one. There's a lot of stuff in the first one where I was like, that is a combination of cringy delivery and dialogue. One of the only things that stuck out to me in this movie is when the Colonel guy, what is it? Colonel, I want to say Kurtz. Quarch. What a weird name.
Quarch.
He's talking to the other Marines about their mission. He's like, I know what you're thinking. Why so blue? And I was like, get out.
So Allison touched on that a little bit with her husband. I'll give a shout out to You've Never Seen It. Allison did an episode of We've Never Seen It because they had never seen Avatar. Her and her husband Frank had never seen Avatar, and so they go to our channel either via audio or we have a video up on the channel too of the audio podcast. And that is something they mentioned, is a lot of Cameron's movies, he'll have some super cheesy dialogue. It just
fits
kinda,
in some places better than others. Like True Lies, it's a welcome addition.
When you have Arnold given some cheesy like, it just fits because it's his accent, his personality, his charisma. But it's maybe that, and so maybe that's a room for improvement is get someone to punch up the script a little bit type of thing, or just roll with it and embrace it and love it. It's you can go either way with it, I suppose.
I feel like Avatar takes itself seriously enough, though, that when that dialogue happens, it does stick out. Where you're like, "Why? You're being so serious, and you're treating everything else with so much respect. Mm-hmm. Why that piece of dialogue? Why is Jermaine Clement in this movie and not used for any like real purpose? It's just like, here he is, and I'm like,
he played a very straight man character. Like he's like, I'm not done to do the comedy. I'm the straight man in this situation, and he's like, I'm a marine biologist, and you could see him. It's like, did he die at the end? Do we know what happened to him?
Jumped
was he
on the boat? Who knows?
Yeah, was he on the on that boat that got whatever, or is he going to become an ally type of thing? But what's the purpose? Like, what where was that? So that was another thing. It was like more like a head scratcher moment. Wasn't like even a negative. I think maybe we as fans of Concords or whatever, or Jermaine himself, like we expected a little more.
What we do in the shadows.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. The music, we got to touch on. The music was really good. I don't have anything like specific to pull out, but it was great.
Bonk.
Blue, or should I say blue?
The music was great. Carrying on James Horner's wonderful score, which is an amazing score for the first one, was Simon Flanglin. Simon Flanglin? I don't know. Let me look up his name.
Great.
Avatar: The Way of Water.
I never felt like the music overpowered the movie.
Right.
It blended well, and sometimes that's what you want to do. Robert Adams in the chat saying, "Hey, when are y'all talking about Avatar 2?" That's this whole video. We've been talking about Avatar 2, and now we're in spoiler territory.
Well,
look, and we are looking to wrap up fairly soon.
Simon Franklin. Okay, Simon Franklin, who didn't have very many who didn't have very many composer scores to his credit, but I think he was like James Horner's like second in command for like the last 30 years. So he has a ton of experience, and I think Cameron obviously kicked in and liked him.
Monty first said I didn't watch the movie, and I am in the spoiler chat. I like to live dangerously. Here's the thing, Monty. Honestly, your timing's pretty good because we've had a lot of the biggest stuff out there already. Yeah. We talked about like the biggest deaths, the biggest not deaths, the really sad moments. the key plot elements. Honestly, there's not a whole lot to cover in general conversation. But Sean, is there anything that you really felt that we haven't covered or that you want to talk about that we haven't?
No, I think we've kind of covered it. We didn't do a play-by-play. We didn't run down. We kind of just played with our favorite parts. I'll tell you what, and I've heard this on a few different reviews that I was able to listen to today. It makes me so much more excited about the next one.
Absolutely.
And
my
my
anticipation between Avatar
and
Avatar 2 and then 2 and 3 are worlds apart.
Oh yes, the levels are and no more running. It's time to fight. It's time to battle. They're going to go to war. And then what the producer had said about, in the fourth movie, we might have Neytiri visiting Earth. And that will be very exciting to see these fucking blue people descending upon Earth and killing all the... It's funny just calling all the humans evil because we just have this military construct that we're really rooting against. But I'd imagine... Well, no. What's her name? Edie Falco did say... Earth is dying. We need a new place to live. So I wonder.
So they're not just getting resources to the place. They're trying to absolutely colonize. And that marrow stuff that they're collecting is helping fund like all the science, all the research.
And that guy straight up said, "You stop aging." So I wonder how much that will play into the science of future stuff going forward. Right. He's like this literally will stop you aging. It is a miracle fountain of youth. Miracle drug. So that'll be very interesting going. They planted so many seeds of stuff they didn't wrap up in this movie that we can touch on going forward in the future.
Really silly thing, but Robert Adams said, anyone else hate that the Barbie trailer played before, thus steal the ability to react on YouTube? To be honest, I mean, Sean lucked out. He missed it. Oh, I missed it. We didn't cover our experiences. You had the 3D experience. I just had the loud, comfortable seats. Two different experiences.
The IMAX here in Sacramento I don't think they've ever upgraded their seats. I think they have the same seats for the last 20 years. They are very uncomfortable.
IMAX refuses because the recliners lose seating space.
Oh yeah, absolutely. These ones have rockers, like there's rocking.
That's what we have. Yeah.
But the thing is, you rock back and then your butt immediately goes back. So now my legs are like this, and it rubs into the back of my knee, and especially for a 3-hour movie, it was very noticeable. That's not the movie's fault. That's IMAX's fault, and it was uncomfortable. Anyway. I didn't see the Barbie trailer. I had Oppenheimer. I didn't get to see Barbie. So that was cool.
So there is a reaction on the channel now of Sean reacting to the Barbie trailer, which is a lot of fun. I had fun watching that again with you when I watched the video. Yeah. They do a spin on 2001 Space Odyssey, which is a lot of fun. Beginning.
I watched. They did a shot for shot like recreation of it. They did. On New Rockstars today on their afternoon show, The Break Room. They put them side by side with 2001. It is literally shot for shot, like scene, like cinematography, lighting for lighting. It was identical to 2001.
Only Greta Gerwig. I love that.
Right.
It was a lot of fun.
It was super fun.
I did see the Oppenheimer trailer. It looks heavy. I think it's kind of Sean's words that he said.
It's tense. It was just absolutely tense. Yeah.
What I like is that the cast for Oppenheimer is wild. That trailer is almost wholly Cillian Murphy. The trailer is all about Oppenheimer.
The conversation, so it's Matt Damon's character, some sort of general, talking with Cillian Murphy. Cillian. It's a heavy conversation, and he's like, yeah, 99% success. He's like, close to zero. What do you mean close to zero? Do you mean we could scorch the earth? Like that was like, all right, what's gonna happen here?
Yeah, and it says, we have no other choice and all that. So anyways, that's Oppenheimer.
That's Avatar. Avatar. Highly recommend it. It's I don't know if it's gonna break into my top 10 of the year. I just love. There's so many fucking good movies this year.
I have a bomb to drop. I do.
Drop it. What did I say?
Shut up. Shut your mouth.
We've been talking. We're gonna do a top 5 video. Everyone's gonna do top 5 video of the year. A lot of channels are gonna do that. I'm very excited to edit. It's gonna take a long time.
All right,
I told Jesse, he's like, oh no, I'll send you my top 5 right now. I'm like, there's still like a couple movies like Babylon, Avatar. He's like, I'm pretty secure. I know exactly what movies are.
I am secure on my 5. I'm fine. I will say that. That's not the. But here's the bomb. It's a 1-2 punch. The bomb is
go.
Avatar. Now I'm gonna drop the Avatar bomb, the real A bomb.
The real A bomb. Yeah.
Avatar is on my top 10 of 2023. And I do have to say, there's a lot of things that make that the case. Obviously, it's not the strongest story of the year. It's a good story that I enjoyed, but there's so many other filmmaking aspects that lend itself to being a really enjoyable experience. So, 1, it's on my top 10. 2, it's not number 10.
Oh, okay.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. First week of January, we're gonna drop a bunch of top 5 videos. Hopefully, if I get them edited in time.
If not, just keep waiting.
Just keep waiting. Tune in for the second week of January. But that has been our review of Avatar: The Way of Water. I really loved it. Rating, I hate giving ratings. I loved it a lot. It's like a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8.5.
Yeah, can I do it?
It's up there. It's
can I give it a film rating and a fan rating?
Sure.
I'm gonna give it a film rating of 8 and a fan rating of 9. How about that?
I'll allow it.
Great.
I am the arbiter of this review, and this has been the Flick and Reel review. And not all of us felt this way. Allison, I don't think, was quite as high on it. Tune into her Twitter for those words.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, and by next time, I do mean like 5 minutes from now, where you can hop on the speakeasy where we talk about whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about other things.
It's coming soon. We're just gonna have some snackies until then.
Stay tuned to the channel.
Keep it real. See you guys then. Bye bye.